hold down the throttle so that you can't move the throttle, and then oh.
It's funny now. It's funny now for me to watch this, but obviously back when I did this, I was terrified. Like, yo, what's up, people? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're gonna react to my first ever day of FPV, the first day that I turned on the quad, the first flight that I did a visual line of sight, and then the first actual flight I ever did with goggles. So let's get that up. We'll do that sort of commentary, me over the video, and just talk through everything that I was going through. Hopefully this will be useful for you, A, if you want to see what that was like for me, and B, maybe you are looking to do this yourself and you want to know the right ways to do it, or at least the ways that I did it. So I hope you enjoy. Let's get into it. Right, so I was obviously in my back garden, and like right here, genuinely terrified. And when you get to this point where you do your first flight on your quad and you I was so scared. I was so scared.
In theory, when we flip this switch over here, they should start spinning.
Look at that face. Like, that's the face of someone who spent hours and hours building this.
Hold down the throttle so that you can't move the throttle, and then oh.
It's funny now. It's funny now for me to watch this, but obviously back when I did this, I was terrified. Like, I was absolutely terrified.
Let's try that again.
So round two, trying better. Trying to do this better than the first time.
So that you see both me and the drone.
I can see your hand and the drone. I need to see you.
And trying to direct my cameraman Liv. So maiden flight, when you get to this, is obviously a really important thing, and this is called and this is to check that everything's working correctly. So I've done a video on this. I'll link that over here and down below. So that's the face of a guy who's super stoked that this has actually worked. Everything's responding as it should. The yaw, the pitch. Heart was racing, absolutely terrified. Absolutely terrified.
So much more scary than like a real, like a
nice. So much more scary, Michael.
More noise and violence.
Correct. It is way more violent. And now we go into the park to do the maiden hover. So this is visual line of sight, or VLOS. And I'm just flying around, getting used to the controls. No goggles on yet. I've not even touched goggles yet. And you'll see now, I can remember this clearly. I landed this so hard. Oh no, actually maybe this is not the one that landed hard. But we completed it.
That's
Look
the
at
first
that,
flight
just stoked.
ever, hover, no goggles. It's time to put the goggles on.
Let's go, goggles time. So I remember I was quite...
Filming with goggles.
Super
Are you ready,
disorientated,
Michael?
and it's completely different. So like flying in a simulator, like not even
Going onto the drone.
remotely the same. This is DVR from the air unit. Or might be the goggles actually. Yeah, I think it's the goggles because you can see the band. But you can see straight off the bat, I wasn't scared. I just went straight for it, moving forward. But I was going very slowly. Obviously, I'm in a smaller park here, which you guys have become very familiar with.
Come back towards us.
But I just remember that how much more powerful it felt than the simulator. That's probably the one thing that I couldn't really get my head around, is so much more powerful, and also is standing with the goggles on. So probably from this flight onwards for the next 2 weeks, I just sat down whenever I flew. But you can see here I'm leaning on a bench behind me, because halfway through the flight I was kind of just like, Jesus, I know the bench is there, so I'm just going to lean against it. A pretty good flight for the first flight. This was a long time ago, man. This is bringing back some good memories. I get a little bit more adventurous here, I think, because I'm thinking, fuck it, you know, I'm here. Let's give it a bash.
You're even near the ping pong table.
I can see
And yeah. And I really do favor this left-hand turn, which is weird. Like, that's the side I'm way more comfortable turning on. So maybe I need to start practicing that. But I would suggest if you're going to do your first flight, do it somewhere where there's soft grass that you can, if you are going to fall into, it's okay. So flight's done, coming into land. This is the one where everything lands real hard, because landing is something you don't practice.
That was a bit hard.
That was hard, Michael, but we did it. You did it.
There we go, folks. The first flight of Matilda. I'm naming it Matilda.
We never use that name afterwards, not a single time. And that's it. What's funny is I was checking here to make sure nothing was broken. Like now I don't even, it'll land a little bit hard. I'll just go over, check that everything's fine. They're a lot hardier than you think they are. Great, so thank you so much for watching. I guess this was my first ever flight and I wanted to share that with you guys. I was going to make a longer video on it, but this kind of format works for me right now. I'm relatively busy and I'm finding it kind of a struggle to edit long videos. So anyways, for people who are getting into FPV, maybe this is an insight for you. These are some of the things that I had to go through. I practiced on the simulator a lot. I did a short kind of test flight in the garden to check that all the controls are working. I'll link that video down below. It'll also be in the description. And then I went somewhere that was soft and free of people, where I could fly around visual line of sight first and then a little flight with the goggles. But as I said, it's very different to flying in the simulator. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching and I hope to see you back here, so maybe you can consider subscribing, and if not, that's also cool, and I'll see you guys in another video. Bye bye.